Exactly. And we'll see what they have to offer here. Again, DreamHack, it is the most important tournament for all of these pro players. If they have anything to show off, it is here. It is now in the closed qualifier.
And in our first qualifying match, we're going to start it off on Oxide LE. We're in the top right-hand corner map, spawning all the way in the top right-hand corner. We have the red Zerg player coming out from the land of Hong Kong. He is straight up the best player from Hong Kong, but the second best player, he's hot on his trails. And he has to take him out right now, put him back in his place. Can he do it? We'll see. Representing himself, as he's currently teamless, he is GogojOey.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Oxide LE, we have the Kong from Hong Kong himself, the pink Protoss player. It is Bistork. He's here, he's Alpha Blood, perpetually in GogojOey's shadow. Can he change that?
Yeah, now is the time to strike when he least expects it. Already being very annoying with his probe, forcing an isolated natural base to be taken. And the Bistork of old, I mean, I would imagine he follows this up with a very quick Twilight Council and then goes for either Glaive the Depths or Charge Lots. But Bistork pretty consistently has been much more of a Void Ray opening style of player.
Yes, we were talking about it, and this year, like in the past, Bistork had his own style, but this year he has embraced that Sky Toss a little bit more, the Void Rays instead, and because of that, like, he has become a little bit more standard, right? Like, it's what everyone does nowadays in PvZ. So we'll see if he does that, or if he reverts to that Twilight Council.
Probe, laying down a pylon. Got my eyes on you, though, Probe. I want to see the tech choice that's made.
Yeah, we're just gonna have to wait a little bit longer. Meanwhile, GogojOey is making a handful of lanes just to send that across the map, just to keep Bistork honest, get a bit of a scout off as well, and there it is, lo and behold, big surprise, Kappa, Stargate.
I don't think I've ever seen this before, like.
Mate, I got a duckling
especially
down.
From Bistork.
I got a duckling down, mate. Oh my god.
Oh no! Technical difficulties.
Oh god, alright, we're good. So, yeah, we do have a Stargate opening here from Bistork. Meanwhile, he's sending a couple of adepts across the map. We do have a couple of links split up between the bases to make sure this adept doesn't deal too much damage.
And damage it does not deal. Look at a decent scout off. Checks the main base, sees that GogojOey is in fact droning up, trying to saturate his unnatural natural.
That he is. Meanwhile, Bistork is going for an Oracle first, and this is where I start to get excited, right? No Void Ray yet. Is he going to commit to a couple more Oracles, more than just one?
I absolutely hope so. Even going double Oracles instead of just a single Oracle does allow the Protoss player to be much more active on the map. They will be able to take a little bit of map control. Following up that Oracle with a Void Ray, alright.
Oh my god, yeah.
We'll just be looking to clear Overlords wherever he can.
Yeah, again, a little bit more standard, right? Oracle first to just zoom across the map and deal whatever damage you can. The Void Ray just to clear up all these Overlords and deny the scouting. So GogojOey has a harder idea, harder time figuring out what his opponent is doing. Oh, no spores.
None whatsoever. Only a single queen who runs out of energy first. And now there's 0 anti-air.
Yeah, this Oracle is dealing a surprising amount of damage. Again, the opener wasn't scouted, the spores weren't ready, and I was just so surprised that the Oracle just turned around and just killed the queen.
May as well at that point. Barely got the queen before it got by the queen. And the Oracle has been dealt with, but already 5 drones. Not insignificant.
Yeah, I mean, look, for one Oracle, 5 drones and a queen, mate, that's great. that's insane. Typically a good, like an amazing trade for an Oracle is like 7 drones. So a couple less drones for a queen, like that's something that you don't often see.
Yeah, especially when you're going for Void Race like Bistork is, when you know your opponent in GogojOey is one to go for big queen roach pushes once he in the ZVP matchup. Keeping the queen count down not only affects their anti-air, but more importantly, affects the amount of transfuses they'll have as they push out.
Exactly. And as you are alluding to, like, we do have mass queen production. Roach Warren has been thrown down. We do have a lair on the way, and that creep spread is headed towards the third base of Bistork. GogojOey, I imagine, wants to get ready for that queen march. Meanwhile, Bistork, I love this. He's not neglecting his anti-ground army. He's working on disruptors.
Or should be disruptors.
Should be
insane if it's Colossus. But...
should be disruptors. GogojOey, please.
Never really know with him. The Adepts do sneak in. They get a fantastic scout. Seeing the lair attack him. They do get 6 drones as well for the troubles. Another very fantastic trade. But GogojOey is switching things up a lot here.
Ooh.
In his CVP.
Bold move, mate. I mean, he used Mutas to great success in his previous series, in his ZVT against Eternity, but now against Bistork, this is risky. If this gets scouted, Bistork, he has the production to switch into Phoenixes.
He absolutely does, but it's going to be a pretty big if. GogojOey is going to be keeping his Spire and his Mutalisk hidden for as long as possible. He's got a lot, or he's setting up a couple of spores by that main base location, and in general, just doing a very good job of keeping the Void Race back, but I think, did they catch a glimpse?
My god, he hasn't seen it, not yet. Oh,
they're getting close!
Oh god, he still doesn't see the Spire. Oh god.
Oh no.
Oof.
Oh no.
He even loses the queen. Sorry about Void Ray on the retreat, and Bistork, he is in the dark. The Spire has finished up. There we go. Immediately 8 mutas on the way. And Bistork, we didn't really touch on it. He did finish up his Fleet Beacon. He is working on his carriers, but again, like the muta switch, oh boy, it can be huge.
Yeah, he's not gonna have money for carriers after the Mutalisk hit.
Exactly. Even these Void Rays are vulnerable. Like, there's not that many of them. There's, what, 5 Void Rays and 2 of them are at half health? Like, oh god.
Absolutely ideal scenario for GogojOey. If you're Bistork right now, you're probably thinking, right, he's working towards Hydras for a bit of a later timing. Not quite the case. The hatchery is very, very low, and it will force GogojOey to reveal his hand. Bistork should be switching up his production right now.
Exactly. Meanwhile, 2 Void Rays get taken out immediately. The rest of them do get recalled back home, and we should see a switch into those Phoenixes. As you said, he does have 3 Stargates now up and running.
They're just continuing to get carriers out, which is kind of fair. I mean, if Bistork is able to amass a critical amount of them, there's not a whole lot GogojOey can do with his current tech, but they're also so slow, so immobile, and won't really be able to defend the mineral lines. I'm hoping Bistork gets a lot of static defense.
I'm sure he will. That is what Protosses do nowadays, and Bistork has embraced that. What I will say is that GogojOey, he hasn't overly committed to these mutas. I mean, he's switching straight into Corruptors, so he doesn't have a large muta cloud. Because of that, the Phoenixes aren't necessary. Like, Bistork called his bluff, and he is committed to the carriers and the Void Rays instead, and this is exactly what he wants against Corruptors. Like, thankfully, Bistork isn't neglecting his Void Ray production.
Yeah, he's going to have a very good buffer against these Corruptors. Flux Veins finished up a while ago as well, so there is going to be a lot of micro potential behind these Void Rays. The Queen count, though, is getting pretty dangerous. There's also a lot of transfuse available.
Yeah, and what I will say is that unfortunately, Bistork, he only has 1 Disruptor. I was hoping he would invest a little bit more into this. If he had 2, 3, then these Queens aren't anywhere near as scary.
That they won't be, but for now, Bistork is prioritizing his Sky Army, understandably, to deal with the Corruptors in the Sky.
Yeah, he has to be careful where he fights as well. He doesn't have a lot of static defense here at his natural. A lot of the shield batteries are at the 3rd or at the 4th.
Oh, this is exactly the wrong place for GogojOey to fight, and exactly where Bistork wants him. The Corruptors try to dive in, and they are doing a good job of sniping the Void Rays.
Yeah, exactly. They've sniped every single Void Ray. Again, there's only one shield battery here to support the army, and now every single carrier is going to go down. One disruptor shot landed, but there was no follow-up. The Queens stand strong.
They do. It takes 2 Purification Novas to take out a Queen. There were a couple of Stalkers who were trying to clean up what was left, but with the amount of transfuses GogojOey has, it is not a threat at all. He's just camping the production right now, sniping these Void Rays as they pop out, as he tries to depower them too.
Yeah, exactly.
Stargates, I mean.
Like, if you're Bistork, like, you needed to slowly engage with this army, like, bounce between the bases, be careful, pick your fights wisely. But unfortunately, like, he fought here at his natural, where he just didn't have a lot of support. He didn't have his cannons, he didn't have his shield batteries that were off in the other bases. And just like that, GogojOey finds the weakest point in the defenses of Bistork, and now, mate, he's barely got anything left.
Yeah, he really doesn't. Bistork has broken in once again. Massive switch of the Stalkers on the ground to deal with the Corruptors, but what can they do against this many Lings?
Yeah, exactly. The Lings, they flood into the main base, they surround the Stalkers. A couple more Void Rays are coming out, sure, that's great and all, but I mean, like, look at the Queen count, look at the Corruptors, like, Void Rays, they're no longer the answer, mate. Oh boy.
Some would argue they've never been the answer.
Oh god. And with that, again, this is the best of 5, so we still have a long series ahead of us, but GogojOey is looking to put the first points here on the board.
Yeah, that he should. I mean, 25 army supply to 100. Really hard to see GogojOey letting go of this.
Yeah.
But Bistork's definitely trying.
He is. I mean, again, mate, it's DreamHack, right? Like, you want to fight as best you can. You want to fight your heart out here, but you know, at the end of the day, your heart can only do so much.
Yeah,
because
it's just pumps blood.
Yeah.
It doesn't actually produce the blood. That'd be the bone marrow.
This is true.
GG is called, and GogojOey takes game number 1. I'm actually trying to follow that blood analogy now.
God damn it, yeah.
but I can't quite find a connection.
Shaking my head, mate. Shaking my head. Congratulations, GogojOey does take game number 1 in this series. But again, the first of many games ahead of us. Bistork, he was trying to rush into those carriers. You could argue a little bit too quickly. Also, he just wasn't set up defensively for his push. Was kind of like taking up in a bunch of different directions, right? He was getting Void Rays, getting carriers. He started disruptors and then stopped and never picked up again. Like,
yeah, he was definitely focusing a lot of his side defenses on kind of the fringe bases, which is typically what you want to do as a Protoss player. But unfortunately, we mentioned his killer instinct before. GogojOey, he smelled an opening, a gap in Bistork's defenses, and just went straight for it.
Oh yeah. Well, I'll just update the admin just to keep him in the loop. You know what the score is at the moment, where we are in our series.
You're much nicer man than I am, like, because I would have just been, why don't you come over to twitch.tv/CranKy_Ducklings, and in 2 minutes you will be able to keep up somewhat.
Just watch the stream, forehead.
Yeah. Just watch a stream 2 minutes in the future, forehead.
Oh god. Meanwhile, here we go.
A couple of
Go on.
Continuing on, a couple of updates on the bracket. Terran will not be completely out of the upper bracket here, as Expect takes out Mystery Man 2-0 in that TvZ. Up in another TvZ now against Yogur. That has got to be one of the closest series in the Taiwan region.
Yeah, mate, that's spicy, mate. That's spicy. The best Terran in all of Taiwan up against someone of the likes of Yogur. That is currently, if you want to tune into that, being covered by the Taiwanese stream, AOGS.
Ooh, very good to hear. We are spreading these out as much as possible. But meanwhile, we're going to be continuing our best of 5 qualifier here on Jagannatha LE. We're in the bottom left-hand corner map, spawning all the way in the bottom left-hand corner. We have the red Zerg player currently up 1-0 in this best 5 series. The best player from Hong Kong, really showing off his killer instinct tonight. He is GogojOey.
And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Jagannatha LE, we have the Kong from Hong Kong, the Pink Protoss himself, looking to prove himself against his compatriots, his countrymen. It is Bistork.
Representing Zest tonight.
Oh, there you go.
Neat. Oh, is that the 2016 portrait? I want to say. Definitely tell, because each year was a little bit stylized, right? There was a little bit of a theme. 2019, it was more of the they wanted something a little bit more standardized when it comes to the backgrounds and whatnot. 2018 was the world is on fire.
Yeah.
2017 was a bit more minimalist, and 2016 was a bit more, a bit more. Not photo, what you would call it. I believe there's a term for it in art, but I don't know what it's called.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the 2016 one had worse art style than this.
Maybe.
It was very different.
Also, Zest wasn't. Yeah, also Zest wasn't part of the 2017 pack.
Oof.
Yeah, I remember.
Is repping his boy. Is a bit of a Zest boy there. And yeah, it makes sense, right? Especially with how he played out with that Skytoss, right?
Definitely. I mean, there's a reason why both Bistork and Zest have been known to go for multiple Oracle openings. Is multiple the right term there? But mass Oracle, there we go.
It's true, they have
mass
both
Oracle
done so.
openings.
Yeah, these are facts, mate. These are facts. Oh god. Meanwhile, oh my god, Bistork is being so annoying with this probe. Eventually it will be dealt with, but he does confirm that there is a third hatchery. He knows it's not some kind of crazy 2-base play coming his way.
Yeah, 2-base play would definitely be tough to pull off when you have an unnatural second base like that.
Oh yeah.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Ball is a little bit in Bistork's court now, since he is well aware of where GogojOey is vulnerable, where he's joining up. We'll see what he does with his Stargate. Void Ray first, alright.
Yeah, this time he opts not to go for the first Oracle, which I'm a little bit surprised by. I guess it makes sense, but again, game number 1, that first Oracle did a surprising amount of damage. There was nothing to scoff at. It was great. So yeah, a little bit unfortunate that this time that Oracle will not reappear again, will not reprise its role.
But the Adepts will make up for it. Ooh, almost getting 4 drone kills there. Almost getting 5.
God, that was close. That was insanely close. But thankfully, in the end, GogojOey does clean all of that up. Meanwhile, interesting. Bistork is still going for that Oracle, but just went for that Void Ray first to clean up those Overlords.
Alright, just making sure he has the map control for now. Again, denying GogojOey as much vision as possible. The Oracle is going to be a bit more of a surprise now. But GogojOey does have a pretty nice spread of Overlords, despite the Void Ray being out. He is undeterred.
Oh yeah, they're still all chilling out here in the map. Also, if you noticed, Bistork did have to use, or he did end up using some Oracle energy at home, did reveal himself, and that means he has less energy to use across the map. Don't think he has enough to pull off the same trick he did last time, trying to focus on the Queen plus drones.
Yeah, especially with the Spore Crawlers actually being produced this game.
Definitely. This time GogojOey heals on top of his Oracle defense. And my oh my, once again, +1 flyer attack.
Oh boy.
So far it looks like Bistork is going for a very similar strategy, going for those double Stargate Void Rays.
Yeah, I'd be worried if we see another quick fleet beacon pop out. But for the time being, he is just focusing a lot more on his Void Ray production. This could come back to bite him, as GogojOey is already getting set up for an eventual push.
Yeah. I'm really curious to see what GogojOey does, especially with this Spire. Like, is he going to go mutas again? Like, I wouldn't necessarily be opposed to it. Or he could just focus on roach speed, you know, one or the other. We'll see what he decides to commit to. But yeah,
I wouldn't mind seeing a Hydra Den being thrown down, actually. Because he knows that Bistork does favor carriers, at least lately, so what's the best anti-interceptor unit out there?
Ooh, and I love this. I love this from Bistork. So he, like, the opener is very similar, but again, a very different style here. Because last time, if you remember, Bistork did get a much faster fleet beacon. He did get a much faster robo into Robotics Bay. This time, it looks like he wants to use Charge Loss to help support his army.
Ooh, very important for GogojOey to be able to scout this and counter it accordingly. Does get his Spire on the other side of the map. Void Rays into Charged Archon, that is definitely one of the most anti-roach unit compositions you can get, but not particularly effective against Mutalists unless you have your Archons in position.
True, Archons can change that completely. Meanwhile, the Void Rays, they do come across now. They want to try and get a snipe on maybe this hatchery, but the Queens are here. They're in position, not just the Queens, but also some Spores.
Yeah, GogojOey definitely taking this a lot more seriously. He realizes that Jagannatha much more of a spread out map. He needs a little bit more than creep connecting the bases and Queens going back and forth.
Exactly. Bistork, he desperately wants to deal some damage here, but again, there are so many Queens where the transfuses, and oh my god, one of the Void Rays instantly gets sniped.
Initially a second, but very quick pullback from Bistork.
And this is devastating because, again, GogojOey, he has saved up so much gas because he just made nothing but Queens. 11 mutas are on the way. And sure, like, Charge and +1 is about to finish up, but Bistork, he doesn't really have what it takes to contend against all these mutas. I mean, I guess maybe the Void Rays, if they go toe-to-toe with them.
But the Queens are definitely going to prevent that from happening. The Mutalists have a very straightforward path into the main base of Bistork right now.
Oh god, mate, there's nothing here. There's no cannons, there's no shield batteries, there are no stalkers. The Void Rays are busy dealing with the Queens. We could see a recall with the Void Rays, which I think would be a pretty decent call. Here we go, the mutas, they dive into the main.
And they take out the entire mineral line. A couple of stalkers being warped in, and it's actually buying the probes a lot of time to get out of there.
Yeah.
But havoc is being wreaked right now with these Mutalists. They do get flanked by the Void Rays. That was another very vulnerable looking mineral line, and GogojOey got baited a little bit by it. Will make out with the majority of his Mutalists though.
He will. He actually, oh my god, he actually goes back in. A bit of a mistake there, and now he will lose a lot of his mutas.
Spoke a little bit too soon.
Yeah, it feels bad, man. That was a little bit needless, especially because GogojOey is going for his Queen Roach Ravager push across the map. The mutas aren't going to take place in this fight. Unfortunately, they all get taken out, but they are distracting the Void Rays, and in come the Roach Ravager.
Yeah, opening up this wall for now. The Void Rays are not in the best position. They do get very badly bruised by the Queens. Plenty of shield batteries available though, and there is an overcharge still off cooldown. On cooldown? Off cooldown.
It is available here, but unfortunately the shield batteries are about to be exposed. Again, more bombs are being thrown down to force the Void Rays to micro a little bit more, and the Queens are now just, again, like, the Queens are doing so well here. Flux Veins did finish up.
But they can't, but they don't exactly help out when there's not a lot of room to micro.
Exactly.
Void Rays are being absolutely pushed to the edge of the map. The shield batteries will be taken out, and the Queen count is getting a little bit low, but there's still some very juicy Queens left for transfuse. The anti-air is still here. No shield batteries in position anymore.
The biles keep landing. I don't know if you noticed, but bile after bile after bile kept connecting with the Void Rays, and again, even then, and because of that, even though the Queen count has been thinned out, they can go toe-to-toe with the Void Rays. The Void Rays continue to fall. They continue to be forced to avoid. Oh my god!
Those Void Rays moved back into corrosive piles! And because of Flex Veins, they moved into the Corrosive Vials faster. GG is calling. GogojOey sees himself on match point.
GG, man. There's something about GogojOey's Ravagers, mate. They're just built different. Somehow, some way, the Biles connect with the Void Rays.
The Vials are just a little bit heavier from GogojOey. They land a little bit. Wait, heavy objects aren't affected by gravity, though, are they? Yeah, it's more about the density of the object than the actual and the wind resistance.
But I will say,
the aerodynamic Biles.
There you go. There you go.
I guess.
Oh god. Unfortunately, as you were saying, like, I don't think that Flux Veins helped, right? Like, the Void Rays are faster, which means that they could move more quickly into those vials.
Yeah. Flux Veins is a fantastic tool when you're utilizing Void Rays offensively. You can send them out for hit squads, pick out hatcheries, back away, or snipe key units from the Zerg player and then back away. Absolutely dreadful when you're forced into a defensive scenario like that.
Yeah, exactly. I do think that Bistork, he was defending well for a long time there, you know, avoiding the Biles and like picking his fights with his Void Rays. But again, just time and time again, he just kept taking Biles to the face, and over time that Void Ray count got lower and lower, and wow, GG.
Very nicely done by GogojOey, and now we might be concluding the first qualifier, a qualifying match rather.
This could be it. This could be the last game.
Hopefully that is the case, as it is a very interesting map that we've got in the current map pool. To say the least, we are continuing our series on Blackburn LE. We're in the bottom left-hand corner map, spawning all the way in the bottom left-hand corner. We have our red Zerg player coming out from the land of Hong Kong, proving once again that he is overall the best player from Hong Kong. If he takes this one map, then it's basically indisputable for a couple more weeks. He is representing himself, for he is currently teamless, GogojOey.
And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Blackburn ALE, Protoss players in the chat, this man needs your energy. He perpetually has been the Kong of Hong Kong. Second place to his opponent. Can he change that here and now? He needs to. Otherwise, he is knocked down to the lower brackets. We have the pink Protoss. It is Bistork.
Yeah, I suppose if there's any consolation here for Bistork and Bistork fans, he is not going to be out of his tournament just yet, even if he does get knocked down. There will be another chance that he will already be in another qualifying match if he does get knocked down to the lower bracket.
Very, very true. He does have a second chance there. Obviously you want to be coming out in the upper half, right? So you have less to worry about, less stress. But, you know, at least he has that to fall back on.
That he does. As we see similar things play out, Bistork annoying for the probe, forces the unnatural base. But we're on Blackburn.
Yo.
The map that is least like any other map in the current map pool. The only one with a gold base, the only one that's positioned this way.
It is the only one that's on fire as well. Down there.
Yeah, definitely didn't quite pass the safety regulations.
Yo, but they're trying, mate. They're trying. It's trying to tape everything together, mate. Look at him go. I love that little guy. The drone. The thing. Whatever it's called.
Airbot, question mark, some fungal signs. A mule, but only for repair. You can't actually mine. I'm not convinced it's actually, you know, keeping things together, but considering this platform hasn't plummeted to the ground,
he's
probably doing a good job.
He's either keeping things together or he's pretending like he's working.
He's either doing nothing and just looking to get a paycheck, or he's the only thing keeping this keeping this together.
He's either the hero we need or this is all his fault.
Yeah.
He's shaking my head, mate.
He's either the hero we need, or he needs to be the hero.
Oh god, or we need a hero.
Yeah.
Oh god. Meanwhile, Bistork completely switching things up here. I love it. Again, we were talking about it. You were talking about how unique this map can be, and part of how unique this is the short rush. This is spy ground. It's incredibly short. Sure, there are speed. Sorry, there are slow zones, but that doesn't even matter, mate. And Bistork is going to be using that to great effect with Glaive Adepts.
Indeed, he will. Depending on what air unit you get as well, it may actually be quicker to go by ground than by air, just because of the slow zone surrounding the main bases.
Oh yeah, exactly. Meanwhile, the Overlord is diving into the main base, and it looks like the Overlord will just barely see the gateways and the Robo. He knows 100% that it is not going to be Skytoss. Doesn't see the Twilight Council.
Yeah, which does help him a little bit, Bistork, I mean, but, GogojOey already knows something is coming his way. He is going to be set up. Roach Warren already finished.
Exactly, and I did just quickly check his vision. Actually, GogojOey just barely did see the Twilight Council.
There we go.
Wow, yes, and now he knows 100% what's coming. He's trying to connect his bases with that creep. He's throwing down some spores just in case a Dark Shrine gets thrown down behind this. It is always a possibility, so he's just crossing his T's, dotting his I's, and he is getting ready for the oncoming Glaive Adepts.
So many links have been made. Roaches are starting to pad out that army supply too. It's hard seeing Bistork going toe-to-toe with this army, but he doesn't have to. The beauty of Glaive Adepts is you can shade back and forth, and as long as you find one vulnerable mineral line, your Zerg opponent is going to be paying the price.
Yeah, it's all about being patient until you see that moment when the Zerg player is at its weakest. Meanwhile, behind this, by the way, this is six gate Glaive Adept, not 4, so a little bit more of a commitment. That's why we have so many Adepts here, and he does fight toe-to-toe with the Roaches, but he commits to the shade.
Oh, it might be a little bit of a mistake there. The Glaive Adepts can definitely go toe-to-toe with the Lynx, but because of the body blocking, the Queens and the Roaches are able to get into position, completely wiping out the Adepts over there. And now that Warp Prism is looking mighty vulnerable, does get away. But I feel like this was just a complete shutdown.
Oh my
11
God.
drones have gone down, which is nice. But the army of GogojOey is still very much in play and very, very threatening.
What I will say though is that those Adepts, they're not stopping, by the way. There's no mining here in the natural, in the third base. There's no mining in the natural. The Adepts are trying to get into that main as well. Can they barely? No, they cannot. And the Queens did a very good job at pushing away that Warp Prism.
And they have... a lot of damage has been dealt. Bistork currently taking the worker lead, but again, it's a very, very precarious situation for Bistork right now because this army is still pretty threatening. Beautiful surround.
Yeah, the Adepts will be dealt with. What I will say is a nice target fire with the Adepts. They took down one of the Ravagers, almost the second as well. And in the end, GogojOey will hold, but he did take a lot of losses. As you said, like he's behind economically.
For now. As 29 Adepts have been killed by GogojOey this game. What would you think about GogojOey going for a counterattack here? Or do you think that the Warp Prism still being live poses too much of a risk?
It is a risk, just barely is pushed away from the main base. Meanwhile, GogojOey, he just scattered with his Zings and he stole the third base. Now he has a target. He had to make sure that, hey, there wasn't like a big 2-base all-in coming or something like that. And the Roach Ravager, it's going across the map.
That it is. The Lings are looking to meet them as well now. A couple of Lings are keeping their eyes on that Warp Prism, really preventing another wave of Adepts coming down.
Yeah,
GogojOey's looking to fight this. Oh! The Adepts are on top of the Ravagers! The Ravagers are super vulnerable!
Oh my god, some of the Ravagers go down, but at the same time, the Lings come in to reinforce. They get us around, all the Adepts fall, and now the third base is cancelled.
He thought GogojOey's Ravagers were getting surrounded, but it was Bistork's Adepts that were getting surrounded. The wall is no longer a wall, and GogojOey's breaking into two Immortals, which is the last thing you want to see when you have Roaches, but the Lings are coming in looking to get as good a surround as they can.
Exactly. Thankfully, GogojOey did force a cancel in the third, and that is enough damage. That is all that he really needed to accomplish there. We do see that he did drone up a little bit more behind that. He can't really like push into this Immortal, as you were saying. GogojOey, he has to be careful not to overstay his welcome. He wants to deny that third again.
He should be able to. A lot of adepts now here, and not a lot of roaches, so these Zerglings are definitely pretty vulnerable. Then Biles, they do land on a vast majority of those adepts. Gets another cancel, but yeah, I really don't think GogojOey can stay here for much longer.
Exactly. Like, I don't know if it was necessary for him to come back because he lost a lot of lings. Like, now we have 3 Immortals and a War Prism, mate. Bistork, he's rushing across the map. He wants to shut down these Ravagers.
He's almost able to. That Warp Prism is very threatening right now. A lot of micro potential. These Immortals will not die so long as Bistork is able to juggle them. But he has to be very careful. The Warp Prism is getting very, very low. The Immortals are exposed, but he does not care.
Yeah, and you know what, Bistork, he is pushing through this. All the queens go down. Now there is nothing to threaten this War Prism. The Immortals stand strong. All 3 of them still alive, and now this third base is under threat. Not just the third, but just the entirety of GogojOey's life. But, yo, he made another wave of roaches. He's coming in.
And he did. He's coming in and attacking. The War Prism is not anywhere close to help in the micro. The Adepts get surrounded. He's warping in more Adepts!
Oh my god, he is. But the War Prism, you need to protect these Immortals. The Immortals are going down. Aye. But I guess instead we do have all these Adepts.
That we do, but they're getting very, very low. GogojOey is about to pop off with another round of roaches, and Zerglings will not take much to clean this up. 5 drones have gone down, which is alright. Bistork has been able to overtake the worker count for now, but yeah, just another very inefficient push.
Yeah, exactly. Bistork, he made the decision. Do I want to warp in more Adepts, or do I want to save my Immortals? He went for the Adepts instead, and personally, I'm not too sure which one was the correct answer, but this is the answer that we got. Instead, he went for worker kills, and 7 drones have gone down. As you were saying, Bistork still has the lead, and maybe he has been able to minimize or lower the amount of Roach Ravager there is left here and get his third up and running.
Yeah, I think that is the biggest victory here for Bistork. He was able to keep GogojOey off his back for long enough to get that third base up and running. He's transferring his workers. He will be able to saturate that shortly thanks to Chrono Boost and just triple Nexus production. He's not producing even probes though.
He is not. Instead, we did see a massive warp in of these sentries. He has an Immortal as well, so he's relatively safe at home. What's important is that this War Prism from the start of the game is still alive, and this is keeping GogojOey busy.
Low.
Yeah.
It's taking so much hull damage.
Oh god, it really has. It really has. Meanwhile, mate, he does it again. GogojOey, he's all about the mutas recently.
Yeah, I guess that's what happens when he misses Demi.
I guess so. Oh god, I like how in your mind that's what it is. He misses him. This is his buddy.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Alright, Bistork will scout the gold base being taken right now for GogojOey. That's gonna be the target for Bistork. He needs to prevent GogojOey's economy from getting too out of hand, because otherwise GogojOey is gonna reach a point where he can just throw supply at Bistork and start to overwhelm him. Bistork has built up a very threatening force though.
Mate, 3 Immortals once again. We have sentries from force fields. We have plenty of Adepts to help buffer as well. The only thing missing is that War Prism. Mate, it's here. Oh god! Oh, took a bile to the face. Please, Bistork, please.
Almost a fatal bile as well. More biles are landing on the Adepts by the way. GogojOey's biles are just built different, and Bistork is losing a surprising amount of supply here. The force field's helping out a ton, and a reinforcing wave of Adepts could be nailed in the coffin here, but GogojOey is somehow finding casualties, finding damage to be dealt on the army of Bistork.
May you say that, but all the Ravagers are being chased down here. The army of GogojOey is falling. The War Prism stands strong. We see a massive warp in the face of GogojOey, and Bistork, after a long, hard-fought battle, it looks like he is breaking through.
He finally has caused enough damage for GogojOey to kind of collapse here. The Mutalisks are out, and there isn't any anti-air, but What a 3 Mutalist gonna do against this many Adepts?
Oh.
Warpism will be taken out though.
Well, but the warp in finishes the Stalkers. They do manage to warp in, and that is the anti-air that Bistork needed. Meanwhile, the Adepts wreak havoc in the main base, and mates, I knew it. It was not going to be a shutdown. It was not going to be a 3-0, mates.
Oh, thankfully. GogojOey's kind of given up on his mineral lines now, by the way. Alright, now he's transferring out. He's lost so much. He's gaining a little bit of momentum here thanks to his Mutalist, but I'm not convinced that's going to be enough. If he tries to go across the map after cleaning up these Adepts, what is going to meet him? Well, cannons are a possibility, plenty of Stalkers, for certain.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like, again, even the Spire goes down, so the mutas that we see on the map are the only mutas that GogojOey is going to have. And in the end, even Recall saving a large amount of these Adepts to defend at home. And there we go, as we were saying, we have Stalkers to defend, we have Blink on the way, shield batteries being thrown down. Unfortunately, there's no Forge, so no cannons, but again, all Bistork. Oh my god, the Warpism!
Will get taken out. Bistork doesn't have a lot of map control, but he doesn't really need it for the time being. The Adepts are going to be enough to chase the drones away from that gold base. That is the only thing keeping GogojOey in this game with the low worker count he's got.
Yeah, exactly. Meanwhile, the mutas, they still find damage here. Again, without Blink, these Stalkers are honestly struggling to keep up with the mutas, but it looks like it is just barely enough. Meanwhile, as you were saying, the gold base, there is no mining here whatsoever. This was the saving grace of GogojOey. This was the way to get him back into this game. And mate, it's gone, mate.
He has no more grace to save.
Oh boy, and with that, now GogojOey, he is down to 2 bases, both of which are almost dead, by the way, just purely from Adept damage.
Yes, yeah. Sneak in 1 Immortal.
Oh boy.
And it's gone.
These mutas, like, again, there are a lot of mutas here, so I don't blame GogojOey for like trying whatever he can with this, right? He can get into mineralites, he can one-shot probes, but there are just so many Stalkers, and in a couple of seconds, Blink finishes, and that is the cue for GogojOey, so sorry, for Bistork to go.
Really will be. As demonstrated, the RB supplies are starting to get a little bit comparable, but let's never forget that GogojOey does have a lot of it in Roach Ravager.
Yeah.
Very inefficient use of your supply.
The mutas, they get into the main base. Sure, this is great and all, but in comes the main army. Aggressive Blink forward on top of the Roach Ravager. The boys are being pulled, and everything here is going to go down for GogojOey.
That it will. A couple of miles do land, but nowhere near enough of them. GG is called, and Bistork fights back. We're going to be not quite going to a race match, but pretty close to an ace match. That's what I mean.
That we are. GG, well played, Bistork. The one game where he doesn't go Sky Toss, the one game where he doesn't try to make Void Rays work, and instead embraces the Adept, he wins. GG.
You love to see it.
Maybe that's a sign, Bistork. Watch him go Void Rays again, mate.
Probably gonna, depending on the map. Do have a quick little update on the map here. The loser of this first qualifying match will be knocked down to the lower bracket, where they face Lemon,
Ooh.
who has taken out Eternity 2-0. Starting to be a very threatening Terran player, especially in the TBT matchup.
I love that, by the way. Like, unfortunately, we weren't able to cast Lemon today, but eventually we will.
Yeah. As we will follow the loser of this match.
Exactly. That's we will. So we have this best of 5, and then one more after this to close out the night.
Yeah, at the very least. May or may not be able to dip into maybe another qualifying match if we're lucky. Might be able to catch them mid-series, but it's time on Hong Kong. A lot of our players here do like to be very aggressive, do like to keep the games fairly short. Not big fans of late game.
That could change. That could change with Bistork. We shall see.
It could. He is the one.
He's Neo. What?
He will bring the he will bring the message of late game
To
Parting.
We're getting
I'm
ready.
trying to think of Protoss players who don't like late game. But nowadays, that's a rarity.
Yeah. Aye. All right, here we go. We are diving into game number 4. GogojOey still has the lead, but Bistork, mate, he's fighting back.
Really is. See 2 more, and he'll be the first to qualify. Meanwhile, his opponent here, spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of the map, all the way in the bottom left-hand corner of 2000's atmosphere. He is on match point right now, but his opponent is giving him a very, very hard time. To close out this qualifier, representing himself as he is currently teamless, coming down from the land of Hong Kong, he is GogojOey.
And spawning in the top right-hand corner of 2000 atmospheres LE, we have the Pink Protoss player, the Kong from Hong Kong himself, putting a point on the board in the last game. Can he keep it up? Can he go all the way to the ace match? It is Bistork.
Ooh, are we? So, we're most likely going to be seeing a Stargate again. Do you think Bistork is crazy enough to whip out 2 Gate Tempest?
You really have lost your mind, Yaku. To be fair, whenever we see it, it is on this map. You know, you're like, there's a reason for your madness, Yaku. I completely understand.
Really?
It's not your fault, Yaku. It's not your fault. But I feel like the time for like fast Tempest play like that has come and gone. There was like a solid month where Parting did it, Zest did it, Starduck did it, right? Like they played around with it, but I don't think it lasted, and I don't think Bistork would do it.
Yeah, almost every time it would get shut down. Parting, I think, is
yeah.
basically the only player who was able to make it work, and he was never able to make it work consistently either.
Yeah, well, like when he did make it work, it wasn't close. Like, sorry, it was close, right? Like it barely worked. So yeah, I saw Pakumak do it as well. He was the other one. Jim Rising even did it when he played Protoss. Fun fact.
Yeah. GogojOey has played against that Tempest style before, notably against Starduck in a couple of weekly events, and that would honestly be, if he sees that, he would probably be heaving a massive sigh of relief. He'd probably be laughing to himself because he's like, I know exactly how to shut this down, and I won't even need Aspire to do it, mate.
Well, that's the problem with it, right? Like every single time a player would try and go fast Tempest like that, one, it would get scouted. 2, you just throw down a Spire, make a bunch of Corruptors, and then after the Tempest die, the Corruptors, they just would get a Nexus kill. They would just caustic spray down the Nexus, and the Protoss player couldn't do anything about it.
Yeah, that's what happens when you're hinging all of your anti-air on a unit that actually takes bonus damage from Corruptors. They are massive.
That they are, mate. That they are. Meanwhile, we do have, once again, a Stargate Opener coming out from Bistork. It is going to be a Void Ray, but only 1 for now. This isn't necessarily mean that he wants to commit 2+1 air attack again and double Stargates. It's the first step there, though.
Yeah. Oracle will follow that up. I was trying to find a gap in what you were saying earlier on, where you were like, doesn't mean that he'll be going into +1 air attack. I'm like, but it may mean he's going to this, but shut it down every time. You're like, I know what you're gonna say next. We just nip this in the bud.
It's one of those things where, you know, it doesn't mean it, but I think it's gonna happen. You know,
yeah,
probably. Mate, Void Ray into Oracle. Show us the second Stargate, mate. We all know it, Bistork.
We're ready for it by now, Bistork. Like, just give it to us now.
There we go. Oracle's coming across the map. This time there are spores in position in the natural, in the main. Not quite at the third, but doesn't need to be, as the Oracle does go towards the natural base first.
And there are a couple of queens in position. Almost gets a flank on that Oracle. Which would have been nice. But, yeah, a lot of energy being expended on attacking buildings, which is less than ideal. Thankfully, Bistork does keep the Oracle alive. He can dive back in later on if he so chooses, or he could just use it for revelations and stasis wards. By the way, we have +1 air attack again.
Yeah, it's happening.
Yeah.
+1 air attack, second Stargate, mass void ray, let's go. So to be fair, Bistork has played around with his composition with this, right? Game 1.
Yep.
He tried to go for some disruptors and then straight into carriers. It was game 3, I believe, or game 3?
Game 2.
Game 2, where he tried to go for charge loss instead, right? You know, he can mix things up. It isn't always the same.
Yeah, he's prioritizing a Forge first, beyond this, so not quite focused too much on robo facilities or whatnot. I feel like this indicates that he is going to double down even harder onto Stargate, though. He's just using that Forge for cannons.
Yep.
Fleet Beacon.
Mate, look at that. You read Bistork just like a bird. And there it is. Fleet Beacon gets thrown down. As you said, the Forge is just for cannons and shield batteries. This is a very Starduck-esque style of playing. Starduck did this against Ender during the Australian Open, if you recall. Just committing to that Sky Toss. It was different though, if you recall. Starduck had that insane comeback where he went down to 3 probes.
Yeah.
Oh,
and then Ender kept attacking into a wall of Void Rays, if I remember correctly.
Well, I mean, the Void Rays run across the map, and there weren't a lot of queens, so the queens died one by one because they were trickling in, and then the drones died, and then the base. It was crazy. It was nonsense, mate. It was nonsense.
But neither player is gonna really be replicating those styles. Bistork is once again going for quick carrier production. GogojOey once again going for his lair.
Yeah, this is essentially as greedy as you can be as a Protoss player, just to basically make nothing but Void Rays and carriers, and it can work. That's the thing about it. That's the arguably frustrating thing about it. And at the moment, GogojOey hasn't really scouted his opponent. He doesn't really know what is happening. He can make some assumptions, but he's already working on that Spire. Like, he's already going to be, I hope, working on those Corruptors.
Yeah, he might be making a wave of Mutalisk first to go for a harass, but by this point, Bistork is well aware that Mutalisks are a possibility. I mean, that's the reason why he got the Forge, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like, he's just doing his best turtle impression. And there we go. Mutas are on the way, which again is something that GogojOey has been very fond of, not just in this matchup, but against Terran as well. Obviously, he has the tech to go into Corruptors. These Mutas, I don't know how much damage they're really going to do, if I'm completely honest. I mean, there's no Flux Veins, so the Void Rays will have a hard time keeping up with them.
Yeah, a single shield battery is enough to buy the probes time to back away, but not quite enough to keep them alive against 8 Mutalisks.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that is enough to one-shot a worker. So it doesn't matter how many shield batteries you have. We do have a couple of carriers here in the main base, and I think the Mutas are going to run into them.
Oh, I like this a lot from Bistork, yeah. I mean, the idea was mostly just to keep the carriers hidden until he can get a critical mass, but they're also going to be useful for the defense, incidentally. Yeah,
there we go. The carriers, they reveal themselves. Oh my, and immediately GogojOey starts Corruptor production.
Very, very quick switch, but it is going to be just about what he needs here. I do like that Bistork isn't neglecting his ground army too much. A Templar Archives is being built.
Yeah.
And both Archons and Storms are going to be absolutely key for dealing with the air army.
I mean, you and I both know well that Archons are going to be beautiful here to help protect your Skytoss from the Corruptors, to zone them out and make sure you keep your Skytoss army safe and sound. But he's going to get there, right? And, man, we got a lot of queens. We got a lot of creep.
Got a lot of queens, we got a lot of creep. The Corruptor count isn't super threatening just yet, and Bistork has a ton of Void Rays act as a buffer.
Yeah.
What about the queens?
Yeah, they're making the way towards this third base location. It's all going to be about the angle here. Like, is Bistork, will he be able to fight the army with also the support of the stack defense, or is he going to be cut off from the base that he needs to be at as the Lings and the Queens are showing up?
Yeah, they are getting a little bit distracted by the cannons, but they are prioritizing shield batteries for now, making it so that GogojOey has a bit of an easier time by the time these armies do clash. I like this, by the way, from GogojOey. He was actually using his mutas as a buffer against the Void Rays for a sec.
Exactly.
Keep the Corruptus alive for as long as possible.
But we see like the power of even a single Archon, mate, just forces everything back. The Chad Archon, we have a second one on the way, and Bistork buys enough time to reposition his army. Oh, he's trying to get on top of the carriers, but he can't even get one.
Yeah, that's what happens when you have double Archons. A couple of volleys on that. They really make the Corruptus disappear.
Yeah, exactly. Like again,
they're like Kleenex.
It's this really weird thing. Like Kleenex?
Windex, there we go.
Oh my god. Meanwhile, Bistork, he does move out of range of the safety of his stack defense. The Corruptors move on forward. The Archons were not in position to help push them away.
Yeah, a couple of Corruptors go down, a bunch of Void Rays, and I believe a single carrier, so overall, a decent trade for the side of GogojOey, but there's not a lot he can do to really follow this up. Meanwhile, Bistork, he knows where the focus of GogojOey is. He just expands elsewhere.
Oh yeah, taking another base here towards the south. But again, like he keeps losing a couple of Void Rays here and there. Like he has to be so careful with here with how he engages. Something else that's interesting is that he opted not to go for Storm. Instead, just went for that Templar Archives for those Archons.
Some very nice feedbacks on top of the Queens, really cutting into the transfuse potential for GogojOey. The Corruptus are nowhere near in position to really help out.
Like, the Corruptors, mate, where are you? Like, without the Corruptors, this army is just gonna be taken out.
And it will force a retreat at least. Fifth base does get delayed, but as we all know, you can be comfortable on 4 bases as Protoss until the very end of the game.
And this is scary because the queen count was almost reset. Like, that was a lot of queens. And again, the power of the queens are their transfuses. And now, like, the Corruptors are even being caught out, mate. Oh my god.
The Archons are trying to get on top of them.
Oh, and they are getting on top of them as well.
Look at how few Corruptors remain as the Void Rays come in to really clean everything up. The Archons are finally getting dealt with, but now there's nothing to stop the Sky Toss army.
Ooh, nothing except, I don't know if you saw there, mate, some juicy biles did connect, killed like 3 or 4 Void Rays, a little bit of miss micro there from Bistork, and because of that, oh my god, they just keep landing!
Look at that army supply difference now!
Jesus Christ, Bistork, he took such a good engagement earlier on, but we do see that in the end he did overextend. Like, oh god, he lost so many of his Void Rays, so many of his carriers. Now he is forced back home to lick his wounds. Which
isn't the worst thing in the world when you're on 5 bases like this as a Protoss player, but GogojOey is following that up as aggressively as he can with his Lings, with his Queens, with his Ravagers.
My god, exactly, and now in comes GogojOey with his Roach Ravager. The Biles are not landing, but they are forcing the Void Rays to micro, to back off.
That they are. Archons are being dealt with, if only there were a couple of Corruptors now. Will be ideal, but I'm not sure if GogojOey even needs them. A couple more Biles land, and they do cause a lot of hull damage on these Void Rays. The Queens are cleaning up very, very well.
Oh god, exactly. Now this base will fall. To be fair, like, Bistork, he doesn't have to overcommit here. He can give up the base. He can back off to the safety of his more right-hand base here, to the safety of those shield batteries. But in the end, he did end up losing that Nexus.
Yeah, complete kill there. As you said, it's at the end of the world for Bistork. He still has a pretty healthy economy, but GogojOey has a lot of momentum behind him. He's overtaking the income. He's getting his hive. And he's just gathering enough defenses to stop a potential counterattack.
Exactly, but you know what, mate? All the queens went down. The corruptor count was reset earlier, if you recall. So, like, Bistork, even though he lost the base, like, he still has a very threatening army.
He really does. We're almost at a critical mass of Sky Toss when we're looking at the anti-air capabilities of GogojOey. A lot of interceptors started to fall though, and it's really cutting into Bistork's income.
It really is. Like, he's desperately trying to get another base up and running. Like, his economy can barely sustain the losses that he is taking here. And GogojOey, like, something important to note is that his bases have been left alone this entire time. Like, he hasn't been harassed. His worker count has been left alone, so he can just continue to like, maybe trade inefficiently, but keep remaxing.
Yeah, we thought Bistork was going to run and wave the economy here, but we forgot, or I forgot at least, to look at the bottom of the mini-map as GogojOey just takes more and more bases, actually digging into Bistork's territory now when it comes to expansions.
Yeah, GogojOey has to be careful because honestly it looked like he made too many roaches that did sink into his supply and his bank. So now these queens are going down. We have a wave of corruptors that are on the way, but they're not going to be here before, like, in time to save these queens.
Yeah. Now that there aren't any Archons, there's nothing to really threaten the Corruptors, but the charge lots on the ground are still something that he's got to respect. Or at least if Bistork continues to make them, as for now, he is continuing to prioritize air units.
Yeah, I hope he does. There we go. 4 High Templar, 2 Archons are going to be morphed in. What's important is that this 4th base is up. More importantly, shield batteries and cannons are finishing up as well. God, oh my God.
It's going to be a lot tougher for GogojOey. Doesn't quite have enough to start one-shotting the Sky Up units. One too many Corruptors have gone down there, and GogojOey now has to retreat and reevaluate the situation, redo the math on how he wants to engage this. Yeah,
exactly. There are plenty of Archons here now, 4 to help buffer and get on top of those Corruptors, but the Road Ravager are keeping them at bay, forcing them back to the safety of those shield batteries. Overcharge was already used earlier. It is not available again for a while.
And GogojOey's just edging closer, slowly but surely. Spine crawlers have been built just to provide a little bit more of a buffer and a little bit more DPS. There isn't really another base Bistork can take easily.
Oh God, there really isn't. Meanwhile, he's being forced to engage here. The creep is just ever spreading closer and closer. A lot of the Ravagers are going down, but oh God, these Archons, they've sustained a lot of damage.
They have, and they're still alive. So long as there are shields on them, the batteries will sustain them. Some very nice biles on this Void Race.
Yeah, exactly. A couple more of those Void Rays do fall. Oh my God, the Archon does get picked off.
They get even lower.
Meanwhile, here we go. Finally, we see some Zealot run-bys, but unfortunately for Bistork, there are plenty of roaches here to defend. Oh, never mind. Oh, okay, there we go. They do turn around.
And GogojOey is just really unable to break this location, but on the plus side, this is really the only base that GogojOey has to worry about from Bistork. He's covered the rest of the potential bases in creep. He knows that Bistork isn't going to be able to get anything else beside this. He knows how desperate Bistork is to defend this, a little bit too desperate as he pushes in and loses almost everything.
Mate, I don't know what happened there. Bistork, he just aimed it forward and he just allowed all of his Void Rays to get focused down. I don't know what happened there.
It's one of those situations where you look at that army of incomplete information and you're like, might be able to A-move there. A-move forward, looked away, looked back, and it's like, half my army's gone.
That's pretty much what it looked like. It looked like something else had caught his attention, and as a result, that is the game-winning move here for GogojOey. He's going to be able to push through this belly. Anything left here, the carriers no longer have any interceptors or only a handful of Void Rays trying to hold the line.
Definitely running out of space to kite back from. The biles will end very, very beautifully. And Bistork is basically out of money. How much minerals does he have at his 4th base?
Ah, my God,
Not
mate,
enough.
he's running out of money. You can see him. For a moment there, he had 0 minerals there just because of how much the interceptors are really sinking their teeth into that mineral income. And that was the beginning of the end, mate. That fight there outside the 4th, or outside the 5th, I should say. And GogojOey, he's marching his way into qualifying for the main event.
That he is! Going back into that group stage once again.
Yeah, exactly.
Hopefully
I mean,
able to make it even further.
And honestly, Bistork, he looked so good this game. There were moments where he was ahead, where he was taking good engagements. Overextended a little bit though, unfortunately. And in the end, there is a reason why GogojOey is the best player in Hong Kong.
And it's because of these biles. No, it's because of a lot of reasons, but the biles certainly help.
They're part of it. They're definitely part of it.
Yeah.
His biles, his expanding his economy, his macro, his decision making. GG gets called, and GogojOey takes the series 3-1.
Gonna be the first of our, at least the first of our Hong Kong players to advance to that main event. GogojOey, Bistork fans, do not worry at all though. He is not out of it. He still has one more shot at qualifying for the main event, but he's gonna have to go up against one of the most impressive Terran players from the region in recent times.
I'm excited, mate. I'm excited. I mean, again, my condolences to Bistork, and congratulations to GogojOey for being the first player to advance through and make it to the group stage. But Bistork now is going to be in a completely different matchup. He's going to be in a PvT.